Hi, I'm Dr. Cornelia Franz, and this presentation is for mothers everywhere. It is the heart of a mother. I have learned from mothers more than I learned in med school, and I thank all of you for helping me be a better mother and healer. This class and eventually this book are dedicated to my daughters-in-law, Carly and Stephanie. You are two incredible mothers and women, and I am blessed you are in my life. Thank you for teaching me every day. So let's have fun. This is a fully interactive presentation as I am interested in you and your heart. What will you get out of this class? The knowing that you are a great mother. You're not perfect, nor should you be. You're going to make mistakes. You've already made mistakes. You make mistakes, but you teach the power of forgiveness and love to your children and to yourself. What is the heart of a mother? All right, smart Alec. Yes, it's an organ, okay, but what else is it? Out of the 5 organs, the heart is likened to the monarch and is responsible for our spiritual and mental activities. The physiologic functions of the heart, according to traditional Chinese medicine, includes managing blood in our body and commanding mental activity. In TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, the heart is the location where the spirit or Shen resides. In general, the spirit is tantamount to the overall vitality of an individual, which is often observed through the complexion, the eyes, and responses. The presence or absence of spirit is important in the prognosis of illness in traditional Chinese medicine. In the heart, it's, what do you say? Oh, my heart aches, my heart is broken. That brings joy to my heart. So the heart is really, I think, according to TCM, truly where the spirit resides. So what is in the heart of the mother? The power to love, the power to give, the power to protect, the power to transform, the power to teach, the power to serve, the power to do what needs to be done, the power to forgive and be forgiven, the power to laugh, the power to be vulnerable, the power to be imperfect and still mighty, and the power to change the world through being a mother. The desire to be perfect so your child does not suffer. And this is an erroneous desire, by the way, because none of us are perfect, nor should we be. We have the desire to help our children be the best they can be. We have a love so deep it never recovers from the loss of a child, and a love so intense it can heal, empower, hurt, or harm a tender child, and it must be used wisely. The opportunity to change yourself so you can change the world. And technically, if we go back up, a love so intense it can heal and empower. That really is what love does. We often can hurt or harm our children and say it's in the name of love, but then that isn't really love. A love is so deep. I personally have often wondered if God felt this way and more. Did he give us children so we could understand his sacrifice as well? So we could learn to forgive and to love with such intensity that allows us to let go to help humanity? After all, didn't Jesus come to serve? Isn't that our job as well, to love and to serve? Your life can be changed in an instant. By the way, it was when you had a child. Now, what I'm going to do is share my story and how my heart has been changed in moments along the way, altering and guiding the course of my life and yours. When I'm done, if you desire, please share such moments in your life. Please feel free to email them to us at press@thefranzcenter.com, PRESS @thefranzcenter.com. Collectively, we are mothers, and we were born to do this. That is one of the most beautiful things I ever heard a father say to the mother of his child. He said, honey, I love you, and you were born to do this. And it's true. It is the best and worst job we have ever had, and yet the most fulfilling of all our jobs. As mothers, we are weak, we are strong, we are vulnerable, we are impenetrable, we are soft, we are hard, We are so many contradictions, all of which make us wonderful. And I am here to remind you of that. Now, my mother, like all mothers, was flawed and imperfect. Her own childhood traumas affected us, like our childhood traumas affect our children. Her generation did not have the skills and opportunities we have today to overcome them. My mother gave us her heart, and interestingly enough, died of heart disease, mostly because it was broken, literally and figuratively. She was feisty and spirited and a fighter for human rights. She was also insecure, scared, overwhelmed, and yet full of love. And generational trauma is something that can be passed down through the generations. Like people who grew up in the Great Depression could have been traumatized about money, and then they carried that down to their children, who then carried it down to their children. And it's called generational trauma, and it really doesn't have to be passed on. Now, me, I had my life planned out. I knew since I was 6 years old, I was going to be a doctor, and I was going to be a heart surgeon. Really, I was. And I was going to be a great heart surgeon because I'm a woman. And so I missed all the signs along the way that that's not what I was going to do. And so one of the first ones that I can look back and say, oh, all right. In college, in one of my classes, I had to write an essay about children, and I received an A for it. And the comments said it was great. And I reread it years later, and I still found it dull and uninspiring. And I was like, wow, I just couldn't see why they thought it was good. And I was still heart surgery, here I come. So as a joke, I say clue number 22, ignored. Medical school was the big detour, a sign so clear I couldn't miss it. And a child like yours is the reason I'm doing what I do today. The little girl was 6 then. She was long and lean with blonde hair that was a mess. She was feisty, and I mean, she was a fighter of the kind that it takes 4 big men to hold down a little girl. And my assignment was to draw her blood. So with 4 big people holding her and me, a med student, nauseated, sweating, and fearing I would bungle this task, I drew her blood. I got it on the first stick, which if any of you in healthcare who draw blood or have children and know what it means, first stick, first try, magic. It was over quickly. We let her go. And I knew in that moment it was not for me. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Nope, no way. Then this little girl stood up, shook herself off, tossed her hair, looked me straight in the eye, said thank you, and gave me a big hug. And I was in love instantly. So in one moment, the job I never wanted became my passion. That's how quick it can happen. So I thank you, little girl, and I thank your mother. I thank you for changing my heart. When I was an intern, I was in Kentucky for my internship in pediatrics. My first rotation was the neonatal intensive care unit, and I was in over my head because we did not have good training in med school for that. And I had a very demanding and strict mentor. The babies were so sick. And then while I was learning how to care for them, there was another life-changing moment. In like the first week, I was asked to do a clinical summary of a baby that had been there for months. And the charts were so thick. I mean, it was like, like 3, 4, 5 inches worth of paper. And I had to summarize it. I had to create a summary out of all of that gave all the pertinent information and would allow the pediatrician the child was going to understand everything that happened. It was overwhelming. It took me hours, but I finished it. And the head of the department announced to the whole department that that was how a summary should be done. It was a real boost to my confidence and validation of my life path choice. It was a heart lift, and it was another moment showing me I was on the right path. Then I transferred to Florida for my last 2 years of residency. I did another NICU rotation, and I excelled as a result of my intern experience. There was a patient that again had an impact on me, a little baby girl, and she died. I was there when she was pronounced dead, and it was very busy, and she was wrapped in a blanket and set aside under a warmer until the morgue could come get her. 45 minutes after she died, my heart just kind of ached and I was like, I need to go check on her. I went thinking I needed closure. Anyway, this little child was alive and she was pink. She was warm. She defied everything I knew about science. And I followed her for 2 more years and she had no mental deficits, none. And so I was part of this, coming back to life. And these moments, they change a person. In practice, when you first get out and practice, it's scary because they say, okay, you're ready. And then you start practice with no teachers, nobody to call on. You're on your own, wondering if what you know is really enough. But I learned quickly that I had great resources. I did have other doctors I could call, but one of my best resources still is mothers. And I learned more from mothers and children in practice than I could have in residency because we live it day in and day out. Now, early on in practice, I had a little girl, 9 months old, who came in and she had meningitis and was seizing, and she was so sick. And in the hospital, the meningitis had infarcted or killed part of her brain. And I went to tell the mother that we did not expect her to live through the night. The mother looked at me and said, my little girl is of strong stock and I trust you. You will pull her through this. She will not die. I was really scared. I was going, what happens when this child dies? We were doing everything we could and I saw no way she could survive. So I prayed, and I know her parents did. The heart of this mother and her belief pulled her daughter and me through that situation. She lived, and I was her physician until she graduated high school. She had no deficits. She was fine. These are miracles, and they happen, and they change your heart, and they show you the power of the love of a mother and the power of a mother and the power of prayer. Then we had our first child, and that was a miracle. And when he was born, there was a little box in my heart that was unlocked and opened. And I had no idea it was there until I had a child. It was love of such intensity that I knew I would do anything to protect him, even hurt someone who threatened him. And I was stunned by the magnitude of this feeling. I had never had such a sensation. And I believe most mothers have this, if not all. His first 2 years, he was really sick with a lot of recurrent sinusitis and had 2 surgeries by the time he was 3. And my heart ached so terribly because, here's this little child who's sick all the time. It's like they're not supposed to be sick. And then another detour was given me. He was not doing well on Western medicine, on recurrent antibiotics. That was creating all kinds of issues. And so I went to see a homeopathic medical doctor. I was completely skeptical, but I was desperate to do something different because what we were doing wasn't working. And he listened to the story for 1.5 hours and then gave our child a little sugar pellet. It created a healing reaction. He was clear of recurrent sinusitis. This moment opened my heart wide to other possibilities. I stepped outside the box of my training and into faith, into the unknown, into the world of homeopathy. And I went back to school and got trained in it. Now, 24 years later, he's in the Marine Corps, and in his last year of service, he actually fought the system so he could go to Afghanistan. This is every mother's nightmare. You don't want your children going in harm's way. And he went, leaving his family and his fiance to wait. My heart was really closed and really scared until he said to me, he goes, Mom, look, I have done this and I have been trained. And he goes, it's like if you went to med school and you graduated and then you were told you couldn't practice medicine. In an instant, I understood and my heart changed, and I prayed and kept my heart open, and all was well. Okay. He came home, they got married. I'm a grandparent now. My husband's a grandfather. Anyway, I let go. hear me. Letting go is so hard, and yet it's the only thing to do. And pray. Open your heart. Do not hang on. That is where miracles happen. It doesn't mean you don't care and you abandon. It means you let go of the situation and what you cannot control and trust your children. Trust in something bigger than yourself. And I had a really good friend that when our son went to Afghanistan, I was having lunch and I was so consumed with worry. And this friend asked me 2 questions. Do you trust your son? Well, yeah. And does he trust his training? Yeah. He said, then let it go. And I just, 2 little sentences, and the power of that was amazing. And that's what I did. I let it go and I prayed because I had no control over what was going on. And it works. And you're going to have to do this all along the way. Kindergarten's a big one when they, first go, or sometimes even daycare or preschool, when they're out of your sight and you're like, oh gosh, what's happening? Then middle school is a big one, high school, graduation from high school, college. These are all touchstones along the way for mothers and parents where you're like, oh, because you want to control their world. You want to keep them safe, but you can't. Your job is to teach them and train them and teach them how to make good choices. And then they do, because the goal is to get them to be functioning adults and leave the house and become, functional and contributing members of society. So today I have 4 grandchildren and amazing relationships with both families. It takes letting go, continual self-work, self-love, compassion, forgiveness, and walking with people, not walking all over them. Telling you my story helps me see how far I've come and how much I really like helping you overcome your worries and be the mom you are intended to be. Now, there is no greater warrior than a mother protecting her child. And I want to talk about warrior mothers because every mother is a warrior. Mothers are warriors and we are clothed with strength. And you know this. You find strength in places you didn't know you had it. Now, mothers of children with autism, developmental issues, physical issues, cerebral palsy, etc., they know their children. They generally know more than the physicians because they do the research. They are bulldogs about their kids, and I appreciate their tenacity and faith that helps their children beyond what the Western medical system says is possible. I will walk with you anytime, and I have. And I have witnessed this and continue to witness it. So this is encouragement and empowerment because I recognize your strength and your knowledge and what you can teach me that even helps you. Their letting go, your letting go is a little different, yet the principle is the same, as I have seen some powerful parenting from mothers of autistic children. You let go of the label, the pity, the pain, and you work to get them neurotypical and to become all they can be. You are some of the most powerful women I know. Your heart literally braves every system and its flaws, its bigotry, injustice, and BS, and you get it done. This applies to every mother who does the same. I want you to believe in yourself and get the help you need if you need help. We all need help, okay? Period. You are not, none of us were born to be isolated and raising kids on our own. It does take a village. And if you don't live in a village, we create a village. You were born to do this. Now do it with courage, faith, and one day at a time, because that's all we can do is one day at a time. So what is the point? The point is, what is your story? Many times by sharing, we learn more about ourselves through stories than through didactic lessons. We live in a society that just continues to seem to belittle and demean us. And there's so much self-doubt. And really that's a distraction. We are taught to underestimate ourselves. So one tool you can do is write down 5 things a day you have done well, and then read them at 30 days. That's 150 things you've done well. Okay. We're only writing down the things you've done well. Write down more. I just picked something, small that's doable. And we at the Franz Center, we're here with help. You do the heavy lifting because you can, and you are, and you will keep on doing it. You can do it, you are doing it, and you will keep on doing it. So a few tips I've learned along the way, just from interactions I've had. Never apologize for loving your child enough to seek help, for doing the right thing, for asking questions, and for following your gut and caring about your child or children. This came from me one time when our first child was sick, and we went to the doctor, and he was wonderful. But we went there late in the day. He was tired, he was hungry, and we waited a long time. And so he was, pretty wound up by the time we saw the doctor. And, I found myself apologizing for his behavior. And when I left, I went, I'm not ever doing that again. Okay. It wasn't my fault that the doctor ran almost an hour late. All right. And that my child was tired and hungry, and we had missed his afternoon snack, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I went, I'm not going to apologize for that. I brought my child to somebody for help. Thank you for your help, but I don't need to say I'm sorry. That was kind of a pivotal moment for me. Nobody has the right to demean you or belittle you. You live with this child 24/7, and you know this child best. The medical system needs to support you, not degrade you. We need to educate you, not disempower you. And I am really big on this, and this is what we do in our practice. Letting go, we're going to address it again because it's an important thing, important lesson. All through your child's life, you will have times where you have to let go, and it is the hardest thing you will ever do. It's not giving someone else or letting someone else have power over your child. It's letting your child make decisions and mistakes from which to learn. Not life-threatening mistakes, okay, but others, not life-threatening. When they're young, your job is to protect them from danger and self-annihilation. When they're older, you guide them and offer advice, allow them to make mistakes, many of which can be painful, and you still protect them from self-annihilation. That part doesn't go away. And so many children, mine in particular, they wind up doing what they're guided to do. And as parents, we actually have ideas about what we want them to be and do. And it's very important. I don't think any parent, any adult has the right to squash a child's dream, no matter how much we disagree. And the stereotype examples are your child says, I want to be an actor, actress, musician, painter, and everybody's like, oh no, you'll starve. You don't know that. And you don't have the right to squash that. That may truly be where their talent is. So how can we encourage their dreams and, maybe even guide them? Because some of those things are hard to get into. So you say, well, let's just have a side skill that can support you until you're famous. Okay. Our job is to support, guide, love, and support some more. When we let go, they love us more, and they return for more love, and they return as adults. When you're just very judgmental, you're strangling them, and they leave, they get married, and they limit their contact with you because now they're adults. Everyone wants to be free. You do, they do. So, and remember, our children pass through us, and each has a purpose in life as well. And we're here to help them achieve that purpose, even if we disagree. So that is my story. That is some advice for you. And now it's your turn. If you are comfortable and you have a great story about the heart of your mother or a mother, please feel free to share it. And you can email us with your story at press@thefriendscenter.com. I just love it. And I've gotten to live some stories with people, and I feel so blessed that these mothers are in my life. And so, if you wish to share your story, please feel free to email it. And, and let me know. Okay. I would like to compile stories in a book or use some of them as testimonials on our website. And if you're okay with that, please include permission to do so. All right. Now, for those of you who have lost a child, there is no greater pain in life. Adults were not meant to outlive their children. And my mother said it. I've heard so many say it. Or if your children are just not accessible to you because of situations beyond your control, it's the same loss in many ways. Nothing I say will ease that ache or fill the void that is left. Now, while your child was here, you knew such joy, such heartache, such love, and that is the love of a mother for a child. Remember that joy and the fact that you had it for a time. You can't change what happened, but you can grow from it. And really, would you have traded any of those moments, okay, as painful as they were? I don't think any mother would. You embrace the love with the pain. For those of you who are separated from your children, keep searching and praying for the best outcome. Even at a distance, your child knows your love. And there is plenty of work showing distance healing, distance communication, distant feelings is very real and instant. Now, you can reach us at the Franz Center. This is our phone number, 407-857-8860. For general questions, you email us at tellus@thefranzcenter.com. Please feel free to call and schedule your appointment today with one of our providers, and we can see anybody anywhere and help you with your issues, especially non-traditionally, okay? And our providers are amazing. Our enhanced non-traditional protocols promote health and well-being, and our partners who we work with help us achieve that as well. Some of our partners include Constantly Healthy, which is a wonderful counseling group with many avenues to help get to root cause. 6 Degrees of Wellness, who help us with structural therapy, acupuncture, and these are 3 of the people we recommend. Reiki Healing with Katie Martinez. These are amazing resources for help. So the Constantly Healthy helps you overcome limiting beliefs. They do play therapy, EMDR, cognitive behavior therapy, and they do free 15-minute consultations. 6 Degrees of Wellness, 6 Degrees Orlando at gmail.com, but also 6degreesorlando.com is their website where you can see more information. They do amazing work with the neuromuscular system, with fascia, with ligaments, with tendons, with muscles, with repair. Phenomenal. Body Energetics is one of the acupuncture groups we use. They do, well, everybody does amazing work, or I wouldn't be partnering with them, right? And Acupuncture Fit does acupuncture, okay? Now, military mothers, I want to mention you because it's my privilege to know mothers of military personnel as well as wives and mothers in the military. As a group, military families are often overlooked and misunderstood, and I want to take this moment to acknowledge the incredibly courageous women who not only serve, but are wives who become warriors in the process. You are amazing. And I always remember to tell military people, remember, your children are civilians. They have not been trained in military ways, okay? So thank you so very much for taking the time to listen. I hope you have found some joy and usefulness in this presentation. The hearts of moms are capable of amazing things. And the loss of our own mother, no matter how old we are, changes our life forever. Our mother is our first and forever friend. We never really get over the loss, but we learn to live with it. She is never far away from our thoughts, and she was always in our heart. So thank you very much. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. And check out more of our videos on YouTube and contact us if you have questions. Thank you again.